are you saying that you believe Jesus was born on December 25th?
Yes, sir.
And are you saying that Christmas is an entirely independent Christian festival with no link to any pagan holiday?
Yes, I am. I would say it has a link to Hanukkah, but Hanukkah, of course, is not a pagan holiday. So, yes,
Right.
I am claiming that today.
Okay. What historian, dictionary, encyclopedia, biblical commentary would agree with you that Christ was born on December 25th specifically? Can you provide a source?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so if we want to talk about ancient sources, I've already provided at least two, right? Hippolytus and Theophilus. Dr. Taylor Marshall is a modern day source who would claim the same. There are, let me, well, I don't have time to pull up all the different commentaries because that'd be wasting your time. But nevertheless, that's at least three resources off the top of my head, which would actually make this argument.
Dr. Taylor Marshall?
Yes.
Uh, Is there a book you can recommend where I can check?
Yeah, actually, he has a book titled God's Birthday, which is on this specific topic.
Good. Right. Apropos. And I assume, does he also support your view that Christmas is entirely independent of any pagan links whatsoever?
Yes, sir.
He does. Okay, wow. I'll have to check that out. Let's go to the Bible, the light biblical case that you made. Now, you acknowledge there two possible time frames for the birth. Now, I believe you said, if just checking here, late August, early September, or late December, early January. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, that's a broad time frame. Would you agree?
Kind of. It gives you, I think, it gives you the specific areas it could be. So it's either in that August, September area or in that December, January area. That doesn't give you the specific date. So if that's what you mean, I agree. But it does narrow it down to at least two possible time frames.
Okay, two possible broad time frames.
Yes.
Okay, so your insistence on December 25th precisely is not based on your own calculations?
It would be partially. So you'd have that. The logic behind that is so one of the two possible time frames is December, January, and the early histories are universal almost. Let me rephrase that almost because there is some others who disagree. Almost universal that the date was either December 25th or January 6th, which are in that December, January time frame. So I think putting those two together, biblically, we know he can only be born one of these two dates. And historically, we know what the early church historians landed on. Therefore, I conclude it is more likely than not that Jesus was born December 25th or thereabout.
Okay, another thing about your light biblical evidence. So let's go through this. You said the course of Abijah was in the temple um, every 8th and 32nd week of the year. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is it correct that you say they were 24 weeks apart?
Yes.
Minus, you said 32 minus 8,
Yeah.
correct? Now you said this places Jesus' birth about 24 weeks apart, which would work out around 6 months. Is that correct?
Well, not exactly. So you have to take into account a couple different things with calendars, right? The Jewish calendar, because it's solar lunar and not just solar like ours, kind of bounces around, right? So you'll notice the August to the January, that's actually a very long distance. It's about 5 months. But September to December, not so much. The reason that you have to account for those things is because Aviv could start as early as March the 5th, and it could start as late as April the 5th. You also have to take into account the possibility of a leap month, right? So when doing those calculations, you're recognizing that not in every single year would it be this to that, but generally you can say, okay, I know how the calendar works, so this is one time frame that's possible, and this is another time frame which is possible.
I'm confused because you gave two options, right? As we said, August, September, December, January. Now that would be 3 or 4 months apart. Do you agree?
Well, yeah.
So,
So the September to December is 3 months, but August to January is 5. So again, you're doing a general calculation based on knowledge of the Jewish calendar.
okay, so now you're changing. Yeah, now you're going to January, not December. So
Well,
December's
again,
out.
you got to keep in mind the time frames I'm giving, right?
Could
One
you?
is it lands you August, September, and the second one, as I said, lands you in the December, January area, right?
That's 3 months or so apart. That's not
Right, but
6.
you're not actually interpreting the data correctly, right? The reason that's 3 months apart is because you're taking into account the movable nature of the Hebrew calendar, right? So some years, the Hebrew calendar will start on what is on our calendar March the 5th or sometime around there, right? Other times, though, it will start as late as what we would call April the 5th, okay? So now if it starts really early, then that's going to limit you to that August to December area, right? But if it starts really late, that's going to push you to September or potentially January in the areas, right? And since we don't know what the first of the year is in Jesus's birth year, we're not even really sure which specific year he was born, sometime between 4 and 6 BC. We have to take into account that it could be sometime within that month-long period, right? And then the other month-long period that comes in late January. So it's not saying if we have a year where Aviv the first starts in March 30th, then Jesus could have been born 3 months after the potential other date. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is because we have to take into account the changing nature of this calendar, it's possible that Jesus could have been born as early as this number, and it's possible he could have been born as late as this number, given the two time frames. But at no time would he be having a year that gets the 8th week in August and also the 32nd week in December, right? That's not the claim.
Oh, okay. Everything you just said, I do not see in the opening though. In the opening, I see a clear miscalculation. Even if you put it at September, as you said, right? That that would give you January, as you just said. So December's out. So
Well, I
it
can
just
quote
does
it
what
if you like.
the
What?
information
Oh, go ahead.
the information you're providing in your opening, there's a clear miscalculation there unless you qualified with everything you just said, which I'm even struggling to follow. But let me move on from that. Let me put it this way. So you provided, is it a doctor, Taylor Marshall? Dr.
Yeah,
Taylor
Dr.
Marshall?
Taylor Marshall. There are others which
Right.
could be named, but off the top of my head, that's the one that comes to mind.
Okay, others that could be named. Could you give me another? I'll give you some time to look up Dr. Taylor Marshall and
Oh, sure. I mean, I can go in my notes if you like.
sure,
No
just
problem with that.
just one more, just for the sake
Yeah,
of the audience, so they can look
do
for themselves.
you prefer somebody more modern or does it
Oh,
matter?
any name. I'm just because I want to ask you. So I've never heard of this Dr. Taylor Marshall. Perhaps that's my bad. I should do better research. But still, why do you think most historians, most biblical commentaries, so Christians and non-Christians, why do you think they take out December as a even possible option? What?
I don't agree that they do. I think that most popular historians do, like the kind of guys you see on the History Channel certainly do. And I think that the reason for that is likely because it creates this aura that Christianity and Christian history and so on and so forth is not trustworthy, right? And so I think that's probably part of their goal. But as far as the majority of historians, I don't think that's true. And by the way, as just for another example, associate professor of religion at Campbell University, Adam English, has also defended the December 25th. That's another one
Adam
who arrived today.
English.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And of course,
Campbell,
that's not including like John Calvin and Martin Luther and John Knox and these guys who believed in the veracity of a December 25th birthday and were themselves very brilliant men who wrote Bible commentaries, I would add. Right. So,
Like,
go ahead.
yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, I don't deny even some very early sources would say December 25th. That was not my point in or my position, I should say. I'm going by, again, the New Testament. So let me move on from here. Now we have Christian ceremonies, commemorations commanded in the New Testament, right? So we have, I would say, baptism is a commandment.
Yeah,
Baptism in immersion into water. Obviously, we have communion. We have the church early Christian tradition from the Book of Acts, the first day of the week, which is a Sunday, right, as commemorating the resurrection. Why do you think there's zero mention, explicit, or not even explicit, but something like the first day of the week, right? That we can patchwork together to give us not only a record of the birth as to just the season, not even the date. So that's still ambiguous, the season to me anyway, and to many others. But let alone a clear account of celebrating the birth of Jesus by the early church, let's say of Acts. Why do you think that's missing?
Well, to the first point, I don't think that one is missing, right? Obviously, you may disagree with the information I provided there, and I may just need to take some time at a video to fully explain it more, because of course we're limited here. But I do think you can get the season as far as when he was born down at least to a general time frame, and then couple that with the historical record that can get you to December 25th. As far as the celebration, though, it's quite simple to me. It's not a command. If you don't want to celebrate Christmas, you're not sinning in doing so. So why would it be necessary for Jesus to command, or for Paul to command, or for any of these people to command
No, I'm
you
not.
to
Sorry.
celebrate?
Yeah, let me clarify my question. I don't mean a command. I mean just a celebration. In other words, early church in Acts, someone somewhere, group of Christians, Paul or something, a mention or something. Hey, let's observe or celebrate the Lord's birth.
Yeah, and I appreciate the clarification, but I would just say it's just not necessary.
All right. Last question here. Are you saying that the Christmas tree, Santa Claus or Santa Claus, things like mistletoe, uh, are you saying all those things are Christian? In other words, you can see in the Bible,
Well, so here's where we need to clarify a term here. If by Christian we mean come from the Bible, then I can agree with you. They don't directly come from the Bible, no doubt. If by Christian you mean they are cultural customs which develop in explicitly Christian societies, then I would
Right.
say yes, I am certainly saying that, right? So
Right. Yeah. New
yeah,
Testament Christian, not Christian by name, I guess. I should. No, I
yeah,
agree. I agree. Yep.